Hi, and welcome to the No Scrubs podcast. We're your hosts, Ife
and Tenny, and the No Scrubs podcast is an opportunity for us to talk about what happens inside the hospital, outside the hospital, and everything in between.
So sit back, relax, and listen to us yap about being doctors. So today we have a special guest. I'm very excited. We have Dr. Sara with us today. Do you want to tell everyone a bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi. That was so smooth, by the way.
Thank
I was
you.
not anticipating. I was like, do I have a line in here? Hi, thank you for having me on the show.
I'm so excited.
Thank you. No, this setup is absolutely gorgeous. My name is Sarah. I am a medical doctor and actor, and yeah, that's about it. I think that's my tagline right now.
Do you know what? That's like the most impressive tagline I've heard.
Is it?
Tagline.
I'm a medical doctor and I'm also an actor.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I enjoy it.
Okay, so we're going to start off with some icebreakers.
Okay.
I specifically did not tell Sarah what the icebreakers were because I
didn't even know there were icebreakers.
There are icebreakers, sis.
Okay. Spicy. How spicy?
Not too spicy, don't worry. So
I'm Welsh.
So
Nigerian
who
and
would
Welsh.
play you if there was going to be a movie about your life? Who would play you and what genre would the film be?
Oh, it would be like a pop culture vibe. It would be have you seen Never Have I Ever?
Yeah.
It would be that kind of vibe in terms of very like
Coming of age.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have the absolute audacity to say Keke Palmer.
Stop! Because I was going to say Keke Palmer.
Really?
She's going to play both of
funny.
us. That's okay.
She's just amazing. She's
amazing.
so
I love
brilliant and funny. And to be honest, I feel like she will play Angela Bassett. But, either way, she's just brilliant. And I would be honoured.
Honestly.
It would be her. She's the one.
Do you know what? Since you said Keke Palmer, I'm actually going to go for someone else.
Go on.
I'm going to go for Issa Rae.
Okay.
And mine is going to be the film version of Insecure. That's the genre.
Yeah,
I feel
okay.
like Insecure is a genre of itself.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
Just a girl in her 20s figuring out life, be
love
awkward.
that.
That's mine, Issa Rae.
Beautiful.
Insecure.
Interesting.
Okay, Tenny.
Well, I've been told that I look like Regina Hall, so I might just have to take that and take her as my like.
This is a
playboy.
casting.
We should do like
literally
a joint film.
I can see this happening.
I won't quite go for a scary movie, but I'll go for something very like quirky. It's like imagine like what Wes Anderson would do for me.
Okay, lovely. So
I see you more in a romantic drama though.
Don't you ever?
I see you in a romantic drama.
I'm so like anti-rom-com.
2000s, like Katherine Heigl, like she's like a working woman and she has no time for men. But then someone comes in.
Well, this is working with the
anti-rom-com.
anti-rom-com.
Like my life. Actually sounding
We've
like my life.
got a script here. And also, what do you mean you're so anti-rom-com?
I like to see myself as like I am a gal's girl.
Okay.
But I like to like steal a few masculine traits.
Okay,
That's
that's
perfect.
perfect for a
We can
rom-com.
work that into the rom-com.
Like you're Sandra Bullock, is it not? In 2 weeks'
Yeah, well,
notice? Is
I
that
do
not-
think I give kind of Sandra Bullock energy.
Yes.
I feel that.
But that's why we don't watch rom-coms. Do you see that? It'd be very anti-Sandra
Fair
Bullock
enough.
to watch a rom-com.
You're doing your character prep for when the rom-com actually starts.
There you
shooting.
go.
I love that.
Okay, so the next one. I know you don't watch medical dramas. Do you watch medical dramas?
Sadly, I'm going to destroy the set.
Clutter,
Sadly,
chaos.
sorry. No, because when I get home from work,
You don't want to.
don't want to go back to work. And also, I don't want to go back to sometimes like a fake version of work. I'm like, well, I
get
wouldn't
what
do
you
that.
mean.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, fine. I'm going to remix the question then. I'm going to remix it. If you were to be in a medical... So they were like, we have this medical drama, similar to Grey's Anatomy. We want to
Yeah.
base a character based off you.
Okay.
What specialty would it be? And it cannot be... Like, what specialty is your doctor
Like hospital specialty?
Your hospital... And it can't be the one that you're interested in or working in right now. So, Tenny, no plastic surgery.
Done it.
Oh, because I was going to say A&E, but that's kind of my vibe.
It has to be something else.
Dermatology.
Ooh.
I would look really good at work. I would only wear heels.
Yeah,
Only heels. There's an emergency, but I'm walking to it in my heels.
I get you.
And then
What-
saying that like one Dr. House line.
What?
And everyone's like, whoa, she saved the day.
What dermatology emergency
I feel like there are some.
are you going
A
to?
skin eating
What
parasite.
emergency do they have?
That's why she's walking.
That's why I'm
That's why
walking.
she's
That's why I
walking.
wear
It's
heels,
still an
because I'm
emergency.
never rushed. And there is only like, what, two, three possible emergencies. So yeah, that's my
true.
drama. And I feel like I've also just told a lie. I do watch like light-hearted medical dramas.
Like Scrubs.
I lived on that. But when it comes to like the deeper ones, I'm like, oh, this is a bit close to home.
Okay. Tenny, what about you?
Difficult question.
Yes.
Not my specialty.
Yeah.
but I still have to work.
But it's a film, like it's a TV version. They just want to base the character off you.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'd have to be someone who's very like, No, let me dial it back a bit. I think I would do awkward pathology.
Oh, that is very interesting.
We're really building a character here.
We are building a character.
I love that.
And then you'll find out all like the deep dark secrets of the path lab.
So it's actually kind
I
of
like that.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'd be a radiologist. I'm kind of
Ooh.
copying you there.
That's a good
I'd be a
shout.
radiologist.
Why did I pick derm? I feel like these are so much
I do
better.
like derm though, because it's a bit more glam. Like
No, yeah.
radiology can be quite cool.
Yeah.
My first ever impression of the derm team when I was at uni, everyone in heels. Everyone has had time for their makeup.
Yeah.
Everyone's
I
about to
love
go on
it.
holiday. I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're living their best life.
Yeah.
Last one. I'm excited for this one. So this is going to be a little acting exercise.
Oh God.
So I'm going to give us a prompt. We all have the same prompt.
Oh,
Okay.
Then we have 30 seconds to act this out.
30 seconds.
You only have 30 seconds. Okay. Who should Tenny, you can go first.
Oh,
You're
okay.
ready. Like, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm in the zone.
Okay, so you're a woman
Yes.
who has just found out her husband gave her an STI.
Forbid. Sorry.
Because you've gone to the sexual health clinic. Because, guys, we're all about being safe here.
But obviously
are.
this is a fake scenario.
This is a
It's
fake
not happening.
scenario.
Okay.
Okay, so you're just you're confronting him over a Sunday roast.
Sunday
Sunday
roast.
roast.
Yeah.
Wait, who made this roast?
We're at a really nice gastro pub in North London.
Oh, you were in
Okay.
pub.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay.
Monologue.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
What? Sorry, what? You got what? What's going on? I how did we get here? I mean, I just remember when we first met and it just wasn't like this. What have you done to us? What have you done to us? I want you out by the end of the day. Take your things and leave. I don't want to see you again.
Ooh.
Take your things and get out.
Done. Scene. That was
Wow.
really good.
Wow. You stood on business.
You really did.
You really had the heartstrings going.
Thank
like,
you.
how could he do that to you?
How dare he?
But you know, I love how the makeup didn't move.
Yeah.
I knew who that character was
Yeah.
straight away. And you gave me life. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, you're
Oh,
up next.
gosh.
It's okay. I'm scared to go last now because Sarah's actually an
No,
actress.
but that
so-
makes it worse though. It's like karaoke with people who can actually sing. It's
true.
just so, it's like, where do you go from there? You know,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Give
it's a
give
lot of
us your all.
pressure. Oh,
Okay, you
God.
ready?
Yeah,
3,
ready.
2.
Wait, the same scenario?
I know,
scenario.
she's so mean.
Wait,
for that.
in a pub still?
It's still in the pub.
We're in Hakkasan. We're in a 5-star restaurant.
A
in London.
5-star restaurant?
Mayfair.
And does he know I have the STI?
You can. Depends. Up to you. I'm giving you creative freedom there. You just have to confront your husband. So in Tenny's
So I
situation,
know I've got an STI.
and you know it came from him because you're faithful,
Okay,
and
cool,
clearly he's
fine.
not. You ready?
Fine, I'm
3,
putting him there.
2, 1.
How's your steak? Is it good? Yeah. There's something I've been needing to tell you, which I'm sure you already know, seeing as I've been out of the house a lot. But I wondered if there was something you wanted to tell me first.
Silence from a man.
No? Okay, I'll go first. I'd met someone. Just like you did. 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Becky? With the good hair? Yeah, I know. I know. Luckily for me, I'm on treatment. For you, you probably need to book in and see your doctor. But I too have met someone and this is done. So enjoy your steak. I will I'll see you soon.
Guys, that was good. That was good.
Enjoy your steak is the new line.
Oh gosh. Okay, so it's my turn now.
It is.
I'm scared. Let me just have a
got this.
think. Okay, cool. Where am I going to be? So you've been in gastropub.
I
You're in
think you're
Mayfair.
at home.
I'm at home.
I think you can let
Ooh,
loose.
and
Okay.
you made the dinner.
Okay.
You made the dinner.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready. Babe, dinner's ready. And he's like, thank you, babe. I'm like, oh, by the way, I left my wedding ring on the stove. He's like, why did you take it off? I'm like, yeah, we're not married anymore, by the way. This is the last meal I'm ever going to cook for you. So I went to the sexual health clinic because I'm a doctor and I like to make sure I'm keeping safe. You know, I had that weird issue down below and I was wanting to get checked out, wanted to be safe. I found out what you were doing. And let me tell you something. Life will never be good with you again. Okay, you're never going to see me and you will never know peace. You have destroyed our family and you've destroyed your own life, because me, I'm going to thrive. This marriage may be over, but my life is beginning. Then I leave. My bag's already packed, guys.
She preached a whole word.
I did.
You preached a whole word. Wait, I need to redo mine. I need to
I need to stop crying.
I was surprised that you were crying, because you're not a rom-com babe, but that was definitely giving like drama.
Just all of the emotions came up at once.
Yeah.
Here, let's go back to serious now. We want to know more about Doctor. We want to know more about Dr. Sara before we move on to actress Sarah.
Yeah.
Tell us about your journey into medicine, basically from medical school to how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. My journey into medicine. So I studied at the University of Birmingham, which I loved, and I basically chose because I did a lot of athletics. I used to be a sprint hurdler, and
Wow.
they had a really good track there. I loved it. My whole life was training, and then when I got to uni, they knocked the track down after a year, which I really thought I should be able to sue for, but apparently you can't. And so I was, just at uni, and I would always have these other hobbies and things I wanted to do. So I did a lot of like musical theatre, I did a lot of singing and gigging. And I loved medicine. I loved like certain parts of it. I loved that it's challenging. I really loved like the patient communication as well. Those were the the days in first and second year where we'd have our GP placements and you'd meet the patients in real life. I lived for that, because you could see the impact that you could make, and I really loved that. And so I went through uni and then went back to South Wales. So I'm Nigerian, but I'm from the valleys, grew up in the valleys of South Wales. So I went back to Cardiff, so back home, started working there, did foundation, and then the whole pandemonium happened. The pandemic. Yeah, I call it the pandemonium so much that my friend was like, I thought it was the pandemic. And I was like, oh, it is. This is just like...
This is my remix.
Yeah, it's just a remix that I've used for so much, but for so long. But yeah, the pandemic happened, and I somehow ended up doing this show with Gareth Malone, a TV show, and it really got me thinking about my career and where I wanted to go next. And I applied to acting school, and that is kind of,
Oh, wow.
That's the shortened version of my journey from medicine to acting.
So you didn't act before you went to uni?
You weren't like a stagecoach kid?
No. So I did I would say in hindsight, it was probably about 3 weeks or maybe 6 weeks of acting lessons when I was about 7 years old. I remember it so vividly. I loved it. But then we couldn't afford them anymore. And so I literally remember walking out of the last class, begging my mum, please, can we do it? Can we do it? And she was just like, we can't do it. And funnily enough, my mum used to be an actress in Nigeria. So she
Wow.
From Nollywood to Wales. I love
made
that.
me back again. We'll see. But yeah, so she kind of always really encouraged us with our artistic pursuits, but also very much as a Nigerian mother encouraged us in our more potentially stereotypical
the Nigerian
pursuits,
careers.
the Nigerian career options. And so I'd done a few lessons as a child, but I was always singing in church. I was always doing some kind of performing. So it kind of went quite naturally for me when I did then go back into acting. I was like, oh, okay, I've been having little bits of exposure and training here and there.
Yeah. Wow, amazing.
That's so exciting. So tell us about your first ever audition.
My first ever audition.
Yeah. When you were like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously now.
That was when I was a kid, actually.
Oh, really?
Do you know, I had an audition for Doctor Who back in the day when I was
Okay.
doing this 6-week period. And I remember it so vividly. I was sat there and I was to play the child in a family and everyone was white. And so I remember sitting there being like,
What is going to happen?
This is going to work really well.
I really appreciate you bringing me in, but this is never going to happen. And it did not happen. But that was my first audition ever. And then my first audition coming back into acting, I had a self-tape for a BBC show. Which I still to this day can't watch back because I didn't even know what self-tapes were. So it's kind of when you film yourself doing the audition, but I'd been in acting school for all of 5-6 weeks. And this person I met, this wonderful friend who happened to be a BAFTA winning casting director, was like, I've got a role for you. And I remember literally thinking, oh, I've got the role. And then she sent me the information. I was like, oh, I have to audition.
You were like, okay.
But that was the level of ignorance. I was so new to it. And so I
Yeah.
did that audition, didn't get the role, but then got a voiceover role for a different role. So I still did the BBC show just in a different way. Eventually that voiceover got cut. So that was exciting. But that was my first, I think that was my first proper audition, my adult audition. audition.
And were you nervous about it? Like, how were you feeling?
Oh yeah, I was bricking it. I was absolutely bricking it because it was a lot of pressure as well. I was like, okay, this is a friend. I don't want to let them down. I want to be, I want to be what they want me to be for this role. And I think, especially when you're first stepping into the industry, it's a learning curve of learning that auditioning is just part of the career. It's like your bread and butter. And so you can't heap too much pressure onto every single audition, otherwise you won't be able to sustain it. But back then I was like, oh my gosh, this has to be amazing. It has to be perfect. But I didn't really have necessarily the skills to make the tape perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then you said that you're in acting school as well. Tell me, acting school versus medical school, which was harder? Which is more fun? Which would you do again if you had to do again, unless you're still in acting school? I want to know.
When you say harder, what do you mean?
Like more difficult in terms of learning new things.
Sorry,
of
I'm
being
learning because I'm
confident?
trying to find like a really polite way of saying this. Medicine was so much harder. Med school, I don't know about you guys, but that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I found it so tough. And I don't know if it was because I was trying to do so many other things, so I wasn't like 100% of the time committed to, going over lectures and all of that. But I personally, like after first year, I was like, we got another 4 years of this. Like,
I've got to do this again.
Right, it doesn't end. But you know what? The reason I'm surprised is because if I was to now go into acting school, I feel like I would find that hard because even though med school is difficult, they spoon feed you quite a lot. There's like a very
Where did you study?
I went to Newcastle/Durham, and it was very much like this is the curriculum. These are the lectures, take your notes. You know what I mean? It was just like, boom, like...
I feel like I was the opposite of spoon-fed because I really enjoyed A-levels and like, I loved school. I was very much, I would learn everything. I would have my revision timetable. I would do the past papers. And I was very much a tick boxy kind of learner. And then when I got to med school and they just said, read this textbook, I'm like, yeah, which bit? There's like 700 pages. And so I felt really not spoon-fed. I felt like uni was a big like learning curve. I don't think I was actually a very good student actually through school. I think I knew how to get the grades. But in terms of like self-led learning, I don't think I was very well prepared for medical school, so maybe that's it.
I think also it might be the variation between the medical schools as well.
Yeah.
Because my medical school is probably a bit more similar to yours. We had problem-based learning.
Okay.
So we had more of an approach of like, cool, you do all the learning and you have the exams that you can kind of use the kind of things you go over in the previous exams as your exam pass papers going forward.
Yeah.
So we had the same test every year, 4 times a year.
I've heard of that. I think they do that at Cardiff as well.
Yeah.
We did not have that.
I wasn't problem-based.
So
We
your
didn't have
percentage was
pass.
just meant to go up every year. So you start, obviously your first time doing the exam, you get like 15% because you know the
but you know that
basics.
you're not
But by the
gonna
time
know
you
it all.
graduate,
Oh,
you're
so
like
it was the
getting
same
80.
exam?
Not exactly the same. It'll be a
Questions, but, like-
massive, huge bank. So you know the vibe of questions you're going to get.
Yeah.
And then by the end, you're supposed to be getting like 80%, for example.
Damn.
But yeah.
That is, I think I'm just not, and I go to acting school, I'd be like, okay, so what do I do? It'd be difficult for me because I guess maybe for you, acting is more innate or it's something that you're like naturally good at.
To be fair, when you asked me about my first audition, if I was honest, my first audition was for acting school in terms of I had to audition to get into the acting school, and it was this 3-hour process over Zoom. And this was post-pandemic where you didn't want to smell Zoom, like you didn't want to be on a Zoom call at all. But I loved it. I remember doing it and just literally I could not stop talking at my sister saying, oh my gosh, this was so amazing. I really, really loved it. And so for me, acting school was just a pleasure. Like every day I would go there. It was a pleasure. When I've worked as an actress as well, I just love it. Like I get on set or I get to the rehearsal room and I'm like, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this. I'm getting paid to like sing a song or dance or do that. It's like surreal. I've got a job coming up that I've done before I did last year and the show's coming back, so I'm going back in about 6 weeks. And just the thought of like skipping along down South Bank to go to rehearsals like lights me up. So
I feel like when you're doing something you love, it's easier.
That's something that I feel like I need to read a book on because I'm learning that hard is good. Like it's not easy at all. It's actually really, really hard. Like acting school was so hard, but there was a lightness within that difficulty.
Yeah.
And I think I probably need to reflect more on where that comes from, whether it comes from the enjoyment, whether it comes from the creative freedom, whether it comes from just who I am as a person, being in my element there. Because there are definitely times I found that while working as a doctor, if there's a patient that I'm helping or I'm sorting out, if there's an emergency, I feel that same level of like, passion and fire of like, oh yeah, this is really hard and complex, but I'm here for it. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Where there are other times where, you're on a very long ward round or there's lots of like paperwork or bits and bobs that you feel could be done more efficiently, that might be more frustrating, and that's hard work, but it doesn't necessarily light me up in the same way.
I think it's that whole phrase about like choosing your hard. Like most things are hard or difficult or require some kind of sacrifice or like you to work hard, but if it's something that you enjoy, you're passionate about, the hard days, like you said, there's a light within them, or they don't feel as bad.
100%.
What would you say the challenging aspects of it were? Like, my deep down inner person actually always wanted to be an actress.
I was about to say that. You give me, I feel like you could do it.
What do you mean you deep down?
Those tears earlier.
They're being suppressed by the plastic surgeon, who's also now struggling to do that. But like, I've always thought it was like such an amazing career. Like, I love the idea of like switching into a whole different personality for a while and engulfing yourself in that and like really like portraying that as well. So obviously I'm coming at it from a perspective of someone who's never been within the acting world really. So what are the challenging aspects of acting school and of acting?
There's lots of challenging aspects. Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
How far into your plastic surgery dream are you?
I am an ST3, so first year of reg training.
Okay, lush. So you're pretty far in. You've done the foundation, you've done the
core surgical,
surgical. How did you find that? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoy the operating.
Yeah.
I enjoy when things go well.
Yeah.
When things don't go well, I am like anxiety driven, and I'm like,
Okay. And do you like are you? This is a deep question, but like, are you happy with the life of that so far in terms of full-time core surgical training and all of that?
I've probably said in a few episodes now, but I've like had 6 months off before starting it.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, this is life. So I'm probably a bit more like tasting the juices of having a bit more of a social life, which seems really interesting. But right now I'm trying to find the balance between the two, so I'm still working out.
Are you in training now?
So I started
so you're back in.
back in. So I started back in Feb, so just trying to like figure out how to still squeeze the juice of life with work.
Interesting. It's so funny because I really do believe that the juice of life should be all over the place. It should be everywhere. There should be no dry patches because this is life. Like, we don't pause the time clock when we clock in at work.
It's not Severance.
Yeah, which I've not watched. I need to watch.
Spoiler, sorry.
But no, don't worry. I've heard about it, but we don't. And I think that was a big thing for me, was that every breath I take, that's the last time I'll take that breath. And that's really deep. I'm so sorry to be so
love
deep
it.
for everyone watching, but it's just true. We tend to have this thing, especially as medics, where we're like, work-life balance, work-life, and we separate work from life as though that isn't one and the same, and they're one and the same. So I think it is a case of, yes, everything's going to have challenges, but I think it's also a case of different people might feel differently about those challenges. For example, you've done core surgical training, you enjoy surgery. I did, there was a time when I worked with the organ retrieval team, and it was so cool, but it was so not for me. I was like, oh wow, I love what you do and I love the meaning behind what you do, but what do you mean we get a call at 4 a.m. and we're in the ambulance on the way from Cardiff to London, and how are you still awake and how are you doing these things? It wasn't somewhere that I knew that I could thrive. I knew that there were certain people who were built more for that environment who would really thrive in that. So I always say take, people's thoughts with a pinch of salt, because my Jericho might not be yours. Like, we might have different, and that's the beauty of life, right? Someone wants to be a pathologist, someone wants to be a radiologist, the other one wants to be a surgeon, and that's how we manage to get by. And so for me, the challenges in acting, I would say the challenges are, initially, if you don't have a big financial backing, it can be really challenging, because you might not necessarily be booking work so quickly. So I've been very blessed, actually. Coming out 6 weeks into acting school, getting a BBC audition is unheard of. So I've been really blessed. I say I've been lucky. I think it's the grace of God, but I've been really blessed in the way my story has gone. And so a lot of people do find it challenging to pay their bills. As a doctor, being able to work part-time and locum, you'd probably be fine, actually. It's actually one of the best part-time jobs you can have, but you also have to be able to mentally take doing medicine part-time, which is its own challenge in itself. It's very difficult you have to be so on top of your schedule and your timing and your own self-led learning and your portfolio, all of these things you have to be really on top of. But but yeah, so there's financial challenges, and then also acting. It's not therapy, but it has been like therapy. You have to break yourself open in like the best and worst way, and it's the weirdest thing. You know, when you hear actors and they do these interviews about a show, and they're so like artsy fartsy, and they're a bit in the head. I always used to watch them and think, what are you on about?
You know what I mean? Like, get a grip, mate.
Get a grip, right? But the worst thing is like, it's low-key all true. Like, it's actually true. Once you get into the room and you've got a script and you're trying to honour this human, this person with all these experiences, you actually have to go really deep into who that person is. And in doing so, you'll go really deep into who you are. You know, learning how to be comfortable with how ugly we can be, not just visually, but like emotionally. If you're playing a character who does something horrible, there's a certain part of you that has to realise that anyone is capable of doing these horrible things. And so that can be quite a challenge as well. I would honestly say that another challenge actually is ego. So I think that as doctors, we likely have a real comfort in how much respect we get when we say what we do.
I can't lie, I do like that.
So yeah, you say to someone, I'm a doctor, I'm a surgeon, they're instantly like, wow, da, 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 da. I introduced myself once to a person that shan't be named, and they laughed in my face when I told them I was an actor. They just laughed at me. And I remember thinking, if I just, because I say it randomly, whatever comes to my head first, I'll say doctor, I'll say actor, it depends. And if it's relevant, I might say one or the other. This person laughed in my face, and I remember just thinking, if I'd said doctor, you wouldn't be laughing right now. You'd show me more respect. And they went on to show me what I think was quite a bit less respect than I probably would have gotten if I had said medicine. So while I shouldn't say that, honestly, going from one to the other, it is a bit, you've got to check your ego at the door. It's like, oh, I'm actually one of thousands of actors, and no one owes me anything. And
do you know what? Coming from a Nigerian background, how has that? Have your family supportive? How has it been being like, do you know what, guys? I'm pursuing acting now. Like, my mum would be like, "You okay?"
Yeah,
she would be like,
Yeah, to be completely honest, I was at a point in life where when I was at uni, I was pursuing music and I was gigging. And, you know, my parents did have a chat with me about focusing on medicine. I found that really tough. And so I got to the point where I was financially independent. The pandemic honestly was brilliant for me because I was like, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And what will I say? Oh, my parents wouldn't have liked it. Like, my parents raised me to be who I am. Like, a lot of my outspokenness, a lot of my opinions, my thoughtfulness, that's from how they raised me. And so it's not that I wasn't concerned. Obviously, you really want to please your parents. I'm pretty sure my dad probably still introduces me as a doctor to everyone. My youngest is a doctor. And that's fine. He can do that. But I've also found, especially from my mum as well, knowing that she really loved the theatre, I found that there's so much support. And my whole family is quite academic. So I think there's something as well, when you go for your dreams, it's a weird permission for someone else to go for theirs.
Has someone else done it?
I've seen, so it's not necessarily directly after me, but yeah, I've definitely seen people come and say to me, oh, I really wanted to do this thing, and now because you're doing this, I'm trying out this class, or I'm doing this. And it's really lovely. That what it's taught me is that most people are actually rooting for you. They
so good.
You know, I hid what I was doing for so long from my medical people because I was like, oh, this is just a bit weird. We don't need to have that conversation. And when they found out, they were like, whoa. And they really loved it. And I was like, oh, cool. That's great. So
I think a lot of people are kind of afraid to chase their dreams or to do something that's not in the normal, like just to be a bit different. So like you said, when they see someone they know, like, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, I want to do that too. Like, okay, I'm going to try. Like, when you can see someone doing something that you want to do or taking a chance or being like brave or audacious, you suddenly get a bit of confidence. Like, oh, if they 100%. Can do it, like, I can do it as well.
100%. Yeah, I think that's so true. And like, that's what you guys are doing with this podcast and with Melanin Medics. That's you'll be inspiring so many people who don't actually always tell you that. They won't, you know, people will see something and they'll carry on scrolling, they'll think it and they'll feel it, but they won't necessarily tell you that. So I think sometimes we underestimate just how much we're positively speaking into people's lives just by giving ourselves permission to truly live our own. Do
you know what? That leads me so well onto our dilemma of the episode. So we have a new segment called Dear Doctor.
Oh.
And this is actually a question I got from someone on my TikTok. So I make some,
Okay.
you know, I do a little TikToks here and
I
there.
love a little TikTok.
And people like medics do ask for advice, for, like, especially because I work in tech now. Get a lot of people asking me like, I want to
Wait,
do
I
it
have
too.
so many
or,
questions
like,
for you, but
we talk about a post episode, but yeah. So one of the questions I got was, so someone said, I've spent years working toward this career, of course, 5-6 years in medical school, the exams, the debt, and the sacrifices, and now I'm realizing I might not want to do this forever. But if I leave, I'm scared I'll disappoint my family, waste my degree, and lose a stable future. How do I know if it's the right move or if I'm just burnt out? So I think they're a foundation year doctor.
This is a good question. My question, just before we start, you're still technically doing medical, like you're still doing both things.
Yeah.
So you haven't left.
I've not given up my GMC license.
Okay.
So I'm not in training, so I'm
Okay.
not progressing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's just like a good backstory
Yeah,
for
that's good
everyone
for
to
people to
have
know,
before we now
Um,
get your thoughts.
I would send them a lot of love first.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell them, we don't have a name, it's anonymous,
It's
right?
anonymous. So
Mm.
I would tell this anonymous person that, like, you're allowed to be a human. You're allowed to be a human being. You're allowed to be vulnerable. You're allowed to change your mind.
Mm.
Like, since when? Like, even if you went in postgrad, like, for me, I don't know, I was 17 when I chose to apply.
Yeah.
17-year-old me didn't know nothing.
at all. I look
And-
back at her, I'm like, girl, you
As
thought.
if-
It's so early.
You thought as if I'm going to be beholden for the next 40 years to a decision I made when I barely knew anything, when I was 17, when I didn't even know myself. So
Yeah.
let's give ourselves that grace. That people change their minds all the time.
Mhm.
You're allowed to change your mind. It's actually part of being a human. It's actually a good thing, because when you learn new information, it can look like a pivot because you've learned something new. So it's a sign you've learned something new.
It's
So
true.
so let's take away that heat from yourself of you're allowed to change your mind. Second of all, anyone who loves you will want you to be happy.
Yeah.
So this disappointment is actually, I've learned that when I preemptively put a negative opinion of me into someone else's mind, I'm in the wrong for that. So if I sit here and I'm saying, oh, Ife's going to judge me because my jeans are a bit creased, she's going to be judging me thinking this, like that. And meanwhile, you're sat here having a chat, listening to what I'm saying, not thinking about my
Yeah.
jeans. That's all about me. That was not about you.
That's true.
So actually, sometimes we can look at people and say, oh, my parents are going to think this, they're going to think that. And we need to actually give them the autonomy of being allowed to think what they're going to think.
Yeah.
Like, you don't control their thoughts, you never will. And it's not up for you to preempt it, to assume it, or to try to control it.
Yeah.
And anyone who loves you will be happy for you. And then there was another bit they said at the end. What was it? It was like,
How do I know if it's the right move or I'm just burnt out?
okay. Yeah, it was something about stability as well.
Yes, they just mentioned like, should I leave?
Ah.
It's being a doctor stable these
I'm
days.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's not really.
But also, like, stable what? Stable misery?
Stable
Precisely,
misery.
like, why stay in something just for the stability? Like, if you're going to be, one thing about me, if I don't enjoy something, I cannot do it. I can physically, like, you know what I mean? But I will not, I don't want to be in any career, anything where I'm not enjoying it. I know I won't be happy all the time, but if I don't have passion for something, you're not going to catch me there. I'm so sorry. This is my life.
It's that whole catch-22 of would you rather cry in a Bentley or in a insert other car here? Like, I don't want to offend anyone.
I just think
Yeah.
life is just too short. I had a family bereavement last year. My cousin passed away. He was like 2 years old, very young. And it was just like, me. After that, I was like, this life is so the fact that I'm here, I'm like nearly that's a blessing. Like, you think I'm gonna let anyone else dictate what I'm going to do with my life? This is about me. Like, so I think to this reader, like, reader, why do I keep saying that? This listener, please explore. Like I think it's so fun that we're humans and we can just explore things. And why is I just hate the fact that people are like, but you're a doctor, like, why can't I change my mind? Like, I'm not an infallible being. Like, I can change my mind.
100%. First of all, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
for
it's
like,
okay.
Yeah.
So sorry. Like, but you're absolutely right. I 100% agree with you that, you know, you really have to live with passion. My motto that I say to myself is I try to never make a decision out of fear. I try to always make a decision out of love. So if I'm choosing medicine, it'll be because I love it, not because I'm afraid of what people say if I leave. If I'm choosing acting, it'll be because I love it, not because I'm afraid of not getting a job. I can't live from a place of fear. And what I found is the more I apply that, the more beautiful my life is and the more love I have in my life. And I find it really ironic that the last thing I'll say to this person is that I find it quite ironic how we're like, oh, we are scared of things not being great, so we're going to stay in a place where we know things aren't great. So you take the guarantee of misery instead of the chance of happiness, which is just so weird to me. And like, you can always control that. That's the beautiful thing about medicine. They kind of make you feel like, if I step out, I can't step back in. I cannot tell you how many jobs I've been offered since taking up acting, that really good medical jobs, such good training programs, all of this, just by, you know, someone giving me a tip of this clinical fellow position or whatever it is. Medicine is a door that is low-key. Once you've got the degree and you've got your foundation, it's kind of always open. So you can go and you can try skateboarding for 3 years and you can come back. You can do all of these things. And the only person who can answer that question of whether it will work is you. You have to actually physically do it. And that's where you get your answer. Not from me, not from anyone else. It's from you experiencing it. So
I do know quite a few people who do feel kind of chained in this dilemma of maybe they weren't even the ones that chose medicine. Their parents were like, do it. And then now they're kind of like, oh, I kind of now have to keep doing it. I'm finding no joy from being here. But it's a source of income. It's B, making my parents happy, and C, what else am I going to do? And it is such a pickle. But I think taking the chance to step back and be like, look, you can actually start your life at any point. Age actually has nothing to do with it. Once your brain's fully matured and you can like make your own decisions sensibly, go for it.
It's true. And I feel like I love the idea, like, people are scared to fail. Like, fair enough, you might be like, okay, I'm going to leave and I'm going to pursue skateboarding full time for a year. And it might flop. You're not going to become Tony Hawk. It might not go well.
Might.
That's okay. And I have tried so many things. Like, I've tried being a DJ. I wanted to be an actress when I was younger as well. This is not my first podcast. It's my third. I have tried so many things. And like, I just think it's a story. This is like the story of my life. And I love telling people I did this.
This is why we need a way to play you.
When I had kids, exactly. I'm going to be like, you know, I did this when I was young. They were like, oh my God, it was so cool. I'm like, what?
It's the better plot. What film have you watched where it's just like, got the job, says da, 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 da.
Yeah,
so boring. So boring. You need some little spice
it up.
I told you it was going to be a spicy episode.
It is. I think spice it up, like if you're working somewhere where you can get locum jobs, locum, like even if you're in training, take a year out, take a sabbatical, locum here and there, and then try that new thing, or like start the foundations of it now. Like, I knew I wanted to go into tech when I was in foundation years. I started like doing little things like joining Melanin Medics or like having a more leadership role there, because I was like, okay, I can put this on my CV, like preparing myself for the change that was to come. So I think spend the time now, if you're in training or F1, F2, just finding out what it is you want to do, and then just start doing a bit of groundwork, a little bit here and there. Then you can, like, as you're doing that work, you'll get to see, is this something I'm gonna like actually go for?
I think the same way that you'd contribute towards like your audit or your research, contribute to like yourself. Take yourself as seriously as you're taking in the audit or the research project. I've got 2 amazing quotes from today. A, enjoy your steak. And B, don't let fear navigate your decisions.
Oh, I love that one so much.
I mean, thank you so much for coming. It's been amazing. I've had such a good time.
Honestly, I've had the best time. It's been such a good episode. But yeah, check us out on socials, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Dr. Sara socials as well.
Woo-woo. And make sure you tune in for our future episodes, and also submit us some more Dear Doctor questions. We're ready to answer some of your pickles.
Yes. I also want to quickly plug, do you not have your one-woman show?
Thank you,
Gab, before we go. You plug your one-woman show.
So I've got my one-woman show. It's called Shmedic, as in swear word medic. I won't say
I thought it was She Medic.
No, it's a not great medic. It is about a young doctor from the Valleys. She's gone to medical school to save her younger brother Chuck from sickle cell disease.
Ooh.
And so where we meet her is in a therapy room, and she's been through it, and so we kind of see her life through these flashbacks and see how she ended up in therapy.
Is it a theatre show? It
is a theatre show. It's a one-woman show on the 22nd and 24th of May.
Okay.
In North London Wood Green, and so tickets are out now. There's like an early bird discount.
I'm excited. Okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
guys,
I'm literally like checking my calendar.
Yes, come down.
Okay, and where we can find the tickets?
So the tickets are on www.shmedic.co.uk. So that's shmedic.co.uk. Or you can go to my Instagram and YouTube and whatever, and you'll find a link there.
How exciting.
Amazing. Okay. That's your next date night, guys.
Yes.
One-woman show.
Heard it here first.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Catch us on our next episode. Bye.